Hello, this is VTV News live from Hanoi. I'm Hoài Lương, and here are the headlines for this hour. Eurasian Economic Union Vietnam FTA scheduled to be signed today. WHO highly appreciates Vietnam's achievement in tobacco harms prevention. And the ancient city of Hue celebrates Buddha's birthday. Now, continuing the 9th session, National Assembly deputies have discussed draft laws on fees and charges this morning. According to the deputies, the law should be considered carefully to cover all relevant objects when being amended. Meanwhile, some fees and charges should be reviewed to be separated if needed. Deputies gave positive comments on the proposed mechanism of collecting and paying fees and charges. However, they still suggested tightening legal framework to improve the activities, transparency and efficiency. Deputies also discussed further on the service-based pricing mechanism applying on tuition fees and medical fees. In addition, deputies proposed terms used in draft laws, rights and responsibility of governmental bodies on the issue of overlapping fees. At the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regular press conference yesterday, Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình has answered reporters' queries on the East Sea issue. More details follow.
In reply to questions about Vietnam's reaction upon China's construction of artificial islands in the Spratly or Trường Sa archipelago, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lê Hải Bình said, China's acts has violated international law and they need to be stopped right away.
Those acts violate Vietnam's national sovereignty as well as ASEAN Code of Conduct in the South China Sea 2002. We resolutely oppose these acts and ask China to immediately stop any activities of construction in Hoàng Sa and Trường Sa to comply with the international laws, especially United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea 1982, UNCLOS, and Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea.
Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình also made strong statements on China's announcement of its first White Book on military strategy.
We think that as a permanent member of the UN Security Council and an important country in the region, China needs to respect the sovereignty, sovereign rights and jurisdiction of all countries involved, abide by international law, and make responsible and constructive contributions to the maintenance of peace, security and stability in the region and the world.
Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình also answers several questions on rumors that China was transporting weapons into the newly constructed artificial islands.
Vietnam's authorities always keep track on every activity in the East Sea. We strongly ask related parties to maintain peace, stability, security and safety in the East Sea in compliance with United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea 1982 and Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, DOC.
Speaking at the press conference, Foreign Ministry spokesman Lê Hải Bình also announced some diplomatic activities of party leaders and also the visit of U.S. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter to Vietnam in the coming time.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng left for Kazakhstan this morning to sign a free trade agreement between Vietnam and the Eurasian Economic Union. The FTA will be signed by Prime Ministers of Vietnam and 5 countries in the Union, including Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Armenia, and Kyrgyzstan. It will mark a new stage of trade relations between Vietnam and member countries of the Union. Vietnamese businesses are hoping that FTA will open up a big opportunity for Vietnamese products to enter larger markets. This is the second FTA that Vietnam has signed this year after Korea-Vietnam FTA earlier this month. So the signing ceremony for a free trade agreement FTA between Vietnam and the Eurasia Economic Union in Kazakhstan is set for later today. On this occasion, let's now review several important milestones reached in this FTA negotiation.
March the 29th, 2013 in Hanoi. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng and Viktor Kristenko, chairmen of the Eurasian Economic Commission's board, officially kicked off the free trade agreement negotiation between Vietnam and the Customs Union of Russia, Belarus and Kazakhstan. Over the past 2 years, 8 rounds of negotiation have taken place in Vietnam, Russia, Belarus and Kazakhstan. In December last year on Phu Quoc Islands, Ministers of Industries and Trade Vũ Huy Hoàng and Minister in charge of Trade of the Eurasian Economic Commission's Andrei Slipnet signed a joint statement concluding the FTA negotiation, marking a great effort from both sides to finalize terms in just 2 years.
The free trade agreement between Vietnam and Eurasian Economic Union is seen as a new stage of trade ties between Vietnam and country members of the Union, including Russia. Vietnamese businesses are hoping that the FTA will open up big opportunities for Vietnamese products to enter these 117 million people and $2,200 billion market.
The newly signed free trade agreement between Vietnam and the Eurasian Economic Union, or EEU, will lead to a new tax list and simplified customs procedures. Taxes for at least 80% of Vietnamese products exported to the Union will be lowered.
The FTA will bring down many barriers, especially taxes. For businesses exporting products to Russia and other countries of the EEU, the FTA will put them in an equal position with any local business in terms of market approach.
Russia has committed to providing the most preferential tax rates for Vietnam's key export products, including agricultural products and processed foods. Like other Vietnamese businesses in Russia, Hapro hopes to increase its current export value from the current rate of $5 million a year, as well as expand market to Belarus and Kazakhstan. For agricultural raw materials from Vietnam, the current tax rate is 0, but the finished products are subject to a very high tax rate. For example, tea or coffee is taxed at 40 to 50%. We hope that the FTA will help lower these rates or even bring them down to 0. According to the Vietnamese Ministry of Industry and Trade, after the FTA is signed, exports from Vietnam to Russia are estimated to increase 60%, to Belarus 40% and Kazakhstan 8%. The Association of Vietnamese Businesses in Russia has urged businesses to join together and develop marketing strategies for their products.
It's time for some leading Vietnamese exporters to reinforce their position in many markets. In my opinion, the Eurasian Economic Union is one of the strategic markets for Vietnamese products.
With the support of Moscow in Centra, many textile and food businesses are stepping up activities to enter the Russian market. A trade fair for Vietnam's high-quality products will be organized towards the end of the year.
So in this new context, at what pace should Vietnamese government lower its trade barriers? And how can the government maintain its support policies to protect the domestic economic sectors while still complying with FTA requirements? Those are the questions raised at the conference on support for domestic economic sectors in a post-FTA environment, which took place in Hanoi yesterday. The event was co-organized by the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry and ActionAid, a non-profit organization providing development strategy for governments worldwide.
Participants at the event discussed policy space as a definition for how many tools the government can have in its toolbox to protect its domestic economy. With the 9 free trade agreements Vietnam has signed, the last policy space the government will have. ActionAid Representative Rick Rowden shared the historical economic lessons of countries such as the US, the EU, Japan, and Korea.
If you look at the history of what all the rich countries did, They all used trade protection when they were first building up their industries, and they only lowered their trade protection once their companies were competitive in world markets, not before. But Vietnam and other developing countries are being asked to lower their trade protection too soon, before their companies are competitive in world markets.
According to experts, Vietnam should take into account the trade-off between expanding the market for export and giving up policy tools that can support domestic economic sectors. One of the most vulnerable industries post-FTA is steel.
The majority of steel companies in Vietnam are small and medium-sized. Therefore, it is difficult for them to compete against big global enterprises in terms of capital, experience and knowledge about FTA law. They do not have experience in utilizing support tools from the government. We think that the policy space has not been used effectively, especially in what we call the yellow light space. It is the area where governments can provide support to protect domestic enterprises, yet not violate FTA requirements. Examples are government support for human resource development, for disadvantaged and vulnerable people in society, for small and medium enterprises.
Better utilization of the yellow light space and the development towards industrialization are the two solutions suggested by experts and governmental representatives at the meeting. That way, Vietnam will avoid the trap of being blocked from industrialization by just focusing on exporting agricultural products. Thuy Linh, Vietnam Television, Hanoi.
More on economic news. Vietnam's first trade promotion office in China was inaugurated by Vietnam's Ministries of Industry and Trade in Chongqing city of China yesterday. The office is tasked with promoting images of Vietnam and its products throughout China's southwestern region, while offering advice to Chinese companies keen on investing in Vietnam. During the inauguration ceremony, Vietnamese Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade Nguyễn Cẩm Tú said that despite the global economic crisis, Vietnam and China managed to sustain sound economic ties, with bilateral trade increasing by 17% year-on-year to $58.7 billion last year, making China's Vietnam's top trading partner. China's Ministries of Commerce representative praises the inauguration of Trade Promotion Office in Chongqing, which will be a useful channel for their business circles to foster ties. Now, electronic traceability, a method of tracing and tracking products, gives buyers valuable information of a product's origin and quality, and therefore increases their consumer confidence. Traceability has usually been applied for imported beverages, sweets, and electronic devices, but now a group of farmers in the northern province of Sơn La are using it on their vegetables. More to follow.
Nguyễn Đức Thọ graduated from the National University of Civil Engineering and used to have a stable job in Hanoi. 3 years ago, Thọ decided to go to Mộc Châu to open a vegetable farm. He aimed to provide customers with quality products which follow VietGap standards and include information of origin.
While researching the VietGap standards, I read one category named product tracking. I came up with an idea of providing consumers with information about how vegetables were carefully taken care of.
Information from sowing the seeds to the amount of fertilizer applied later are all recorded by farmers at their RASA vegetable farms. With this data, consumers can track back information about products on the farm's official website. Although these products cost 30 to 50% more than usual, the model has been commended by local authorities.
This effective model will increase consumer confidence on our product quality and track responsibility when they have an issue relating to food safety. We are willing to support local enterprises to implement it.
Traceability is becoming an industrial requirement. and local vegetable farms are encouraged to apply models like the RASA Advanced Information System for agricultural products.
Vietnam has made significant achievements in preventing and controlling the harmful effects of tobacco, especially after passing the law on prevention and control of tobacco harms. This was stated by the World Health Organization, or WHO, at a conference yesterday to review the 10 years of implementing the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. The following report takes a closer look at what Vietnam has achieved and the difficulties that remain in preventing and controlling the harmful effects of tobacco.
Over the last 10 years, Vietnam has completed its legal system on tobacco control. This includes banning tobacco advertisement, discounts, and sales to people under the age of 18. All tobacco manufacturers must also print health warnings on 50% of their package surface. However, Vietnam is still facing challenges as it has the lowest tobacco taxes in the region and the world. Besides, fines for people who smoke in public and office places are not strict enough.
Smoking too much will lead to addiction. Tobacco in Vietnam is still cheap, making it difficult for prevention and control. Besides, some local areas have not really paid much attention to this issue.
Vietnam is among the very few countries to pass the law on prevention and control of tobacco harms. Also, Vietnam is among the 20 countries that have a tobacco control fund, and one of the 180 countries to sign the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control.
The progress that Vietnam has done has been assessed as a good progress. However, if you go to public places, sometimes you still see people smoking in restaurants, in bars. I think what Vietnam can do and should do is reinforcement agencies should pay more attention and make sure that the law is followed.
As recognition for the contributions and efforts made by Vietnam in tobacco harm prevention and control, a medal was awarded by the WHO to the Minister of Health, Nguyễn Thị Kim Tiến. She is one of the only 2 individuals in the West Asia Pacific region to receive the award.
And it's now time to check the foreign exchange rates updated for today, May the 29th. Hue's central city is now overwhelming with Buddhism celebration of Vesak Day. And the U.S. Embassy supports young Vietnamese filmmakers. This is coming up in the later part of our bulletin. Welcome back on VTV News, live from Hanoi. Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc yesterday paid a visit to the Supreme Patriarch of the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha Thích Phổ Tuệ on the occasion of the Buddha's 2559th birthday. Deputy Prime Minister Phúc extended his best wishes to the Vietnamese Buddhism's highest leader and other Buddhist dignitaries. He praised the contributions of Buddhism to the country's development, highlighting it as a religion of peace and with a long patriotic tradition. Deputy Prime Minister Phúc reiterated the party and state policy of ensuring freedom of religion and belief, noting that all citizens will be given favorable conditions to practice their religion. Supreme Patriarch Tuệ thanked the party and state for their consideration to Buddhists, adding that the Sangha will build on its traditions to make more contributions to the country. The Buddhism celebration of Vesak Day takes place every year on the full moon in April of the lunar calendar. Vesak Day celebrates and commemorates the day of Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. As one of the country's Buddhist centers, the central city of Hue is full of a festive atmosphere on its streets, pagodas, and houses.
Buddhist followers in Hue have been preparing for Vesak Day for months. They have cleaned their houses and decorated the front yards with Buddhist flags and lotus flowers. Decorations have also been put up on the main streets and bridges across the Huang River.
As a Buddhist, I come to this festival every year. I feel very happy to have the opportunities to enjoy the event this year.
Many other special activities to promote the historical and cultural values of Buddhism will also be organized during the week. 7 flower-shaped lighthouses will lit up to mark the start of the festival, attracting many residents and tourists.
This year's celebration takes place on an occasion of Children's Day. In addition to traditional ceremonies, we will focus on humanitarian activities and sessions for young people.
In Thừa Thiên Huế province, the Vesak Day celebrations will run from May the 25th to June the 1st.
This year, 2015, marks the 20th anniversary of the normalization of Vietnam-U.S. diplomatic relations. One of the effective ways to celebrate this anniversary is through cinematic love. The following report features the 10 Months, 10 Dogs project, which concluded earlier this week. Let's have a look.
Nam giới họ cũng phải gặp phải những cái vấn đề về bình đẳng giới, ví dụ như là áp lực về mặt là phải làm trụ cột trong gia đình, phải kiếm tiền nuôi sống cả gia đình, rồi là áp lực phải chăm sóc cha mẹ khi tuổi già.
Those are the insights from Bing, a character from the short documentary Why Doesn't Bing Get Married?, which tells the story of a modern Vietnamese woman struggling against the pressure to marry someone.
I thought it was a very honest portrayal. I really liked how they filmed all different perspectives from her family, and it was refreshing to see a modern, very strong woman highlighted in the movie.
Phat Minh Ha's film Why Doesn't Bing Get Married was one of the 54 submissions to the project 10 Months, 10 Dogs, sponsored by the US Embassy in Hanoi.
This is a fantastic support for the young participants to explore themselves and an inspiration to do greater deeds for society.
Over 10 months, the Center for Assistance and Development of Movie Talent, or TPD's workshops, show the youths how to portray emerging social issues such as child rights protection, gender equality and environment. 3-time Oscar-winning filmmaker Mark Harris is among the American supervisors assisting director Bùi Thạc Chuyên in this project.
The assistance from American filmmakers, such as Professor Mark Harris, was inspirational. Every youth received their own valuable lesson. Some of the movies have left a strong impression on the audiences.
All 10 of the project's final products will be officially screened on May the 30th in Hanoi. Michael Liu, Vietnam Television, Hanoi.
Vietnam International Exhibition on Film and Television Technology, or Telefilm 2015, will be held from the 4th to the 6th of June in Ho Chi Minh City. The event is expected to include 300 stalls of businesses from 15 countries worldwide. The event will showcase various products and services of the film and television technology. Local and international television stations can meet and exchange experiences and develop ties. Several TV shows, including Forever Young and The Partner, were co-produced by Vietnam Television and foreign TV firms following the exhibition. The exhibition is co-organized by Vietnam Television VTV and Aptech Joint Stock Company. As there are more and more foreigners living and working here in Vietnam, the demand of learning the Vietnamese language is also increasing. Capturing this demand, a non-profit project offers free Vietnamese lessons to foreigners. It aims to assist them to adapt more easily to the local lifestyle.
What's your name?
Even short conversations like this are often recorded so that learners can play them back at home. It helps them to memorize what they have learned faster and improve their daily communication with the locals.
Our purpose is to help foreign volunteers with the difficulties that they face every day, such as basic conversations at work, in a taxi, or at the market. It is also a way for us to introduce our culture to international friends.
Dustin from America has attended this class for more than a month now. Like other beginners, he finds it hard to pronounce Vietnamese words and distinguish different words based on their slightly different tones.
Learning about a language is very interesting. The grammar, the syntax, different meanings of different words. Yeah.
Vietnamese, I have to be very focused on every sounds I make because of the 6 tones.
To make Vietnamese easier for beginners, volunteers at the class always try to apply different teaching methods.
We have quite a few outdoor activities, for example, cultural exchange programs, or we take them to explore street foods or visit popular destinations in Hanoi.
Language classes like this satisfy a real demand for many foreigners working or studying in Vietnam. It not only helps them to adapt to the local life more easily, but also promotes Vietnamese culture.
The U.S. pianist Anna Polonsky and violinist Stefan Jacque will kick off the 19th annual Hennessy concert series, which will take place at the Hanoi Opera House tonight. Jacque is recognized as one of his generation's most significant artists, while Polonsky is widely in demand as a soloist and chamber musician. She has appeared alongside many famous musicians at festivals throughout the world. This is the 19th edition of Hennessy Concert Series, which has been hosted by Hanoi since 1996. The concert, organized by the Ministries of Culture, Sports and Tourism and Moet Hennessy, will be broadcast via a giant video screen located in the plaza of Hanoi Opera House at 9 p.m. tonight. And finally, as always, is the updated weather forecast. And that's it. Do log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go for more updated news. Thanks for your time and goodbye for now.